Hello Gemini, and welcome to your monthly horoscope for June for the Sun or the Ascendant. If you've yet to subscribe to my channel, I'd be honoured if you did so now. You can also connect with me directly at Twitter at Horoscope Ace, or join my subscription list by clicking the link below to get your free daily horoscope direct to your email, and also for my monthly astrology magazine, which is absolutely ram-packed with goodies. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you're as well as possible. We continue to live in very, very serious times. But of course, different countries have reacted to COVID in different ways. So I'm going to try to tune my presentation for each scenario, whether it's more pinned down or it's more expansive. But the wonderful thing about your situation as this month begins is that you're sex appeal central, with the Sun and Venus together in your sign in a conjunction for the first 5 days. What's not to like? You also have Jupiter and Pluto in a conjunction for the whole of this month, but they come more closely together from the 22nd, despite them being in retrograde. And that's a very tight combination. That's helping you to think very carefully about where you're invested in a deeper and more committed way. But also, as this month begins, it is true to say that Mercury, the planet of communication, is in your sector of everyday resources, but linking brilliantly with Uranus in your 12th house. Your hunches can be tremendous in the first 10 days of this month, and you may make a sudden decision which could work out actually very well, despite the fact that Mercury has entered shadow. It's also true that we have a annular lunar eclipse on the 5th, and this is going to give you a platform to think very carefully about your relationships. But there is a bit of a gotcha, because on the other side of the heavens, where the eclipse occurs in the sign of Sagittarius, we have a square with both Mars and Neptune, which are tucked away in your 10th house. Now I say tucked because it's the most visible part of your situation, but Neptune brings a little bit of shading, a little bit of shimmering to the energies of Mars. Usually when the Mars is in the 10th house of people's situation, it gives them a lot of gravitas, a lot of extra confidence and drive. Having Neptune side by side with Mars, and also both in Pisces, brings a lot of water to the equation, and your natural logic with the Sun in the sign of Gemini is going to be challenged, your natural drive, because maybe some of the ideas you have or some of the instincts you have are going to be checked by the right angle the Sun has through this eclipse, and also to Mars and Neptune through to the 18th of this month. In fact, Mars and the Sun are broadly in touch in a square for the whole of this month. And that can see us more impatient. It can see some sudden moves for you. Maybe you can develop a target, but someone in a position of influence around you may not be so impressed and tell you so, which could create frustration. Also, long-term financial issues with the combination of Pluto and Jupiter and their retrogrades suggest that some kind of change, transformation, or even reconstruction may be necessary. Also, Mercury goes into a retrograde on the 18th. And with Venus in your sign in retrograde as the month begins, even though you're going to be giving out this awesome vibe, which can draw a lot of admiration to you, it's going to be important to handle that added benefit that you have at your disposal in a very careful way. It's possible that more than one person can show an interest in you. It's also possible that someone through your work can let you know that they're drawn to you. Or in an existing relationship, there can be some very intense scenes. So with Mercury going backwards from the 18th, keeping the lines of communication open for all of us is absolutely vital. But for you, I think it may be about your resources. The 20th sees the sun switch into the sign of Cancer. That can help you to get more grounded about marshalling your resources. And then we have a mega solar eclipse on the 21st. I say mega because it links in a slightly harsh way with Saturn, the planet of restriction. Now that's in your sector of expansion through to the end of this month before switching back into the sign of Capricorn on the 2nd of July next month. So that angle between the solar eclipse, it's obtuse, it's called the quincunx. So your desire to make progress with everyday resources has to be measured against another part of you that wants to be more adventurous. Now, the current circumstances may not see that so possible to pursue. Then again, perhaps you're developing a new idea which is much more entrepreneurial, and you feel that this has real merit despite COVID-19. Now, if that's the case, we just have to examine the energy of Saturn, which is all about structures. So your structures need to be precisely researched. They need to be planned. And you need to have everything worked out to the nth degree. It's not a time to risk your resources too rashly. It's a time to take a step-by-step thorough approach. Very Saturnian. And of course, with Mercury now in a retrograde too, you may be waiting for some money to come to you. Maybe someone's not telling you something that they could do. Just proceed with a little bit of caution. Fortunately, Venus does end its retrograde on the 25th. You're still going to be gorgeous and you're still going to have lots of admirers. But through to the 29th of July, well, Venus is still in shadow. So there may be something that's more creative or that you're trying to get off the ground that may need a little longer for it to really catapult forwards with the propulsion that you would really like. But this annular eclipse does give you an opportunity to flourish in the second half of this year, but in a very practical way. So even if you've got some brilliant ideas, and that's entirely possible with that wonderful connection between Uranus and Mercury in the first 10 days, we also had a great link between the two at the turn of the year, which points towards innovation, trying different things. I still think it needs to be taken back to brass tacks. You know, what's the outgoings to receive a return on your investment? If it's something that's going to be more speculative and down the track, or a bit riskier, or it's stocks that you may feel can give you a return because of the changing world we live in, who would have thought that you have to pay to give away a barrel of oil? It's incredible how much the world has changed. So resources, I think, through emerging through this crisis for you, it is about being canny, shrewd, open-minded, but also be aware that some things that served your purpose in the past may be making way for something new and fresh, but it may be something that is a bit more stripped down. But that actually can prove to be much more exciting and of interest to you. And what's going to drive forwards your hopes in the second half of 2020, Gemini, is the fact that Mars, the planet of passion and individual endeavour, moves into the most brilliant part of your scope, your 11th house. And it could be that a combination of your individuality, but networking skills, collaborating with others in some kind of group, even if it's quite loose, can actually be very positive for you. Or perhaps you're going to offer a service to a group of people, or your friends are going to be particularly encouraging to you. So Mars moving into Aries, where it goes through an enormously long transit, which lasts through to the 6th of January. Okay, there is a 66-day retrograde from the 6th of September, which can cause some mischief, but generally for you, this is a time to think that the future can be brighter, but I think your process and progress towards it needs to be step by step and thorough, and that will add to a sense of comfort, a sense of security for you. If you'd like to have a one-to-one consultation with me, it would be a real honour. Please see the link beneath this video. You can also see the testimonials that I have had. Also, if you'd like to engage with serious astrology rather than just your zodiac sign, please see the reports I offer beneath this video. If you get a character analysis and a forecast together, you get 30% off. But for now, please take care, stay safe, good luck, and goodbye.